And then it's just
and then you're like, oh,
cool.
well, it's done now.
Yeah. See, that pisses me off so much because I'm always just drunk enough that I'm like, right, I could black out in about an hour.
It was quite good seeing the facial expression change though, because James was just like total party mood, just like, what? Next thing, he just goes, "The fuck was that?"
Like, that was grim.
I go hard.
No, you don't. You're just a lightweight. Don't know eggs.
I don't know what scenario that would be. I don't think I've been anywhere. I don't think the sentence "your eggs are ready" is it.
Clearly, you've never been to Premier Inn.
No, that is. I mean,
Lenny Henry says that every time you wake up in the morning.
You mean after he untucks me?
Yeah, untucks you and goes, "Your eggs are ready."
Gives me a little kiss on the forehead before my big day.
This rather bizarre intro brought to you by the Earth Sandwich Podcast. Good evening, guys. Good evening.
G'day.
G'day. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you guys?
More awake than you, it would seem. Charlie's been a bit of a sleepy boy, but
I am.
To be fair, the time difference explains that. So.
Yeah,
I'm not quite as awake as I normally am at 5 o'clock in the morning, but we'll power through it. We can do it.
We push. We move.
It'll be all good.
You move.
No, but decent this evening. I think I've had a good day. I feel good. So
feeling good. I don't think I've ever willingly woken up at 5.
Not for a flight or anything?
No. Maybe 6, 5.
I guess if you get in the red eye.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But then I just try with all my might to avoid that. I just don't. it really depends. Yeah. If the price difference works, then it's beautiful. But if not, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
You're just like booking tickets, just looking at exactly when the flight is, not just the date, but the time.
Yeah.
So you're thinking.
And then you're looking at which airport it's going from, so you know your travel time. Because if the airport's an hour away and it's at 6, you're getting up at 4. So.
Yeah, and then it's like you never know if you get a train or something. God, why are we talking about flights? One thing that I am passionate about that I want to talk about right now, real quick. Sorry, while this is still on my mind. So, where I'm living right now, an Iceland opened up near me. That's been the big news.
For a moment, I thought you said in Iceland. Right. I was going to be like, that's news.
Yeah, so did I.
I'm from Reykjavik. But,
what's so good about in Iceland? Other than there's lots of mums now.
There's lots of... Mums love it. I cannot emphasise that enough. No, I thought Iceland was somewhere that's, especially cheap or something. It is not. It is not. I purchased what did I get? I got a Dolmio. Is that how you pronounce it? The pasta sauce.
Dolmio.
Dolmio. Dolmio.
You're not pronouncing the O. Dolmio. Charlie D'Amelio.
No, but because in the adverts they go, "When's your Dolmio day?"
Charlie Dolmio.
Charlie D'Amelio. Okay, well thanks for that, because now I'm never going to look at the pasta sauce the same way again.
When's your Dolmio day?
No, I was going to think, what's the TV? Did they have like a TV series or something?
No, what's his adverts?
Oh my god! Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to say that the Dolmio sauce was £2. The Charlie D'Amelio sauce was £2 for a thing, and I don't know why. I don't know if that's a lot or not much, but it thoroughly let me down. So my day has been ruined by that.
I don't think that's particularly a lot, to be honest. I think Co-op does it for about 165.
I think that's not bad.
So.
I'll go fuck myself then. I apologise. I just for some reason for some reason I had in my head that Iceland was like, a little kind of thing. Not like in size, no. In the shop.
Yeah.
And I thought that it would no. Well,
it's like Lidl quality, but getting closer to Waitrose prices.
Damn, that's sort of what Waitrose prices. That is a. Are you sure not like a Sainsbury's?
It's not quite. It's getting closer to it.
It's more like in between like M&S and like Sainsbury's, but definitely getting closer to the Waitrose type.
No, wait. I think we need to pause for a second. So, what are the This isn't a tier list episode, by the way.
What's the stature?
But
that would have been a really good segue, though.
Supermarket tier list.
Welcome to our tier list.
But no, so most expensive, I feel, is very obvious. No, I said M&S.
Are you saying M&S?
I am.
Okay.
I don't know. I suppose it depends what you buy.
Is, but...
Right, Waitrose or M&S.
Depends what you buy.
I mean, Waitrose and M&S are going in S tier.
For price ranges.
Yeah.
Below
that,
transfer market,
I think you've got
price ranges.
Below that, I think you've got like Sainsbury's. Then below that, maybe Iceland.
Well, you got Co-op.
Then Tesco.
I think
then
Co-op's
Lidl.
usually higher.
Oh no, then Aldi, then Lidl.
Yeah, Lidl is probably
Lidl's
the
the
best.
boy,
He's goat tier value.
So my place back home.
I do.
Is right next to a Waitrose, and so my dad out of convenience always goes there. When he came up to visit here, we went and did a just further time he was here, went and did a food shop at our local Lidl, which is literally like a 5-minute drive away, so it's really convenient. And so we went there and we got a full trolley, and it came to like 30 quid, and my dad was genuinely he stood and said to the cashier, he was like, "You're having a laugh, aren't you?" No, I stood there like
Cashier's like, "I'm just doing my job, mate. I don't know what you want, sir."
I must admit, because I did like a whole trip to visit you guys at uni, and I can remember when I went to visit Wakey, and I was going around I think it wasn't Lidl. I'm pretty sure it was Lidl or Aldi. I'm pretty sure it was Lidl. And we were walking around the prices, and because I shopped at the Waitrose as well, because Guernsey's it hasn't got because it hasn't got Lidl and Aldi. It hasn't got all that stuff. So your choice is basically Waitrose, and that's about it. Really.
But wait, or
there's also in Iceland.
Or
yeah.
Anyway, that's not the point of the story.
That's not the point of the story. But when I went to the Lidl by Wakey, I was like, I could do the exact same shop doing Waitrose, which cost me normally about 140, and it would cost me about 20 quid here.
Yeah.
And I was extremely upset.
It's sick, isn't it?
It's so good. Damn it.
And as much as people go like, "Oh, but the food quality's not as good," it's like, we cook delicious meals every day from Lidl, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
Just get over yourself. A Waitrose
Anyway,
pepper is not that much better than a Lidl pepper.
Transitions us into our first sponsor of the show. It's Lidl.
No.
Just cuts us through.
We're just kidding. It's Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah. Bam! Advert. And it's a.
God damn it!
I guarantee we don't get sponsored by any of those people. But yeah.
No, even if it becomes a success, we've made too many jokes about it now that it won't happen.
It's ruined. No. We just have to purge. We have to purge these original episodes.
We're gonna have to bleep it every single time.
But bleep it in a way that we could be saying anything.
It
could be swearing instead.
Yeah,
but
do you? I was thinking about this before actually. Charlie, do you find the time difference? Because obviously, this is why we call it the Earth Sandwich Podcast, because of the time difference, being on opposite sides of the world and all. Yeah. Do you find the time difference difficult in that? Obviously, when you're wide awake and going about doing things, we're not. And so do you kind of find it difficult to kind of fill that time where usually you just message one of us and we jump on CSGO as a group kind of thing? Do you know what I mean?
A little bit, but that's a little bit more down to the fact that I haven't quite established myself yet, so I haven't really got a lot to do otherwise.
True, yeah.
Because, for want of a better explanation, I don't have that many friends at the moment over here. So it's
the moment.
So it's not.
Look at him lying to himself. Oh, poor guy. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
I'm never gonna care.
Yeah.
So it's just so I can message a couple people, but if they'll still be at work quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Or if they're not at work, they'll be doing something else most of the time. Sport's a massive thing over there. There's a lot of people playing sport, and or they'll be hanging out with other people I don't know. So it's just it can be sometimes I'm just I'm just gonna wait for the mates in the UK to wake up and see what's going on,
and then message them relentlessly.
But it is funny though, because it's what I could do is either stay up like, because most of you guys are still at work as well. So it's like, if I wanted to play games with you guys, I'd have to stay till like 2, 3 in the morning, or I go to bed and wake up at 4 in the morning,
and then do stuff like this.
But even then, like the ping is a bit of a problem, obviously.
Like
playing games like Counter-Strike and Rocket League.
So this is something I don't know if you know anything about this, James, or have you two tried to play? Maybe a game together since Charles has moved away, because we tried to play a game of CS, Charlie and I.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I don't know, like a month ago or something, and also we tried to play some Rainbow Six.
I need to jump on Rainbow Six actually, because that looks like a really good laugh.
It is fun. I would recommend it. It's a good game. I haven't really played that much recently, but it is a good game.
Jump on it before.
When we needed you. No. We tried play. We played a game of CS. I don't know what ping we had, like 105 to 150. It kept on like jumping between something like that.
I had about 250.
Yeah. Oh Jesus Christ! But we actually won that game somehow. But one of the
guys in the team was absolutely dog shit. One of the guys in their team was genuinely the worst CS player I've ever seen in my life. Like, he would turn and look at me. Bearing in mind, I've got like 250 ping, so I'm seeing him 2 seconds after he's seen me. I'm still reacting faster. Like, it was genuinely astounding.
It was like you could hear a door. If you're staring at a door, you could hear the sound of the door opening. And then like a second and a half goes by, and then the door is open.
They're right in your face.
And you're like, I'm dead. And you could like tell the difference between like what parts of the game were like cache and were like downloaded, because like some things reacted really quickly, but some things did not react very quickly. Like bullet holes in walls spent like like that shit would not turn up. But have you ever tried Rainbow Six Siege?
No, I've never even
either of you, I guess.
I've played it with you before, Andy. And it's pretty fun. I mean, I think I'm pretty crap at it, but in a game as a game to like mess around with and stuff, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. The difficulty is it's like a very high like info based, like it's a high knowledge entry thing.
There's quite a lot to get your head around of things to do, it seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't exactly been watching the game as such. I've been watching like, do you guys watch like The Do and Soup and Blarg and Grizzy? Like I've been watching a bit of that recently. I think you'd both really like them. It's like kind of dark, kind of humour, but just put over video. It's like Vanos we used to do, and what's the group that does it? What was it? Speedy and Sidearms and people. That's the one.
Yeah.
It's like them, but they just do it on Twitch and upload like highlight reels and stuff. And I watch them play it, and they're not necessarily playing it. They're just laughing and having a laugh. But the actual game does look quite fun as well. But again, I get what you mean with like all the different classes and different things you can use. It does seem a bit
like it's one of those. I was going to say it's one of those games where like I go through like I think we all do probably with some games. I go through like waves of being really into it and then not playing it for ages and then being really into it again. So like I was really into it from about like mid 2017 to late 2018, and I played it quite a lot. Then I didn't play it at all until maybe like 8 months ago when I started playing it, and I played it like for a solid 3 or 4 months. And in that time, even though like I'd put in hundreds of hours previously, it was essentially as if I was a noob, because there's so many new different operators that have come out that you've got to learn everything what they do and how to counter them, and then I've got to either buy them with money or unlock them myself if I want them. And it's one of those things where but I think the thing that does redeem it a lot is it does reward, and why I think Charlie and probably you would do quite well is because it rewards people who are just kind of better at shooting. Because like if you've got it's one shot headshots. So if you can do that, it doesn't matter if like you don't know how to use your gadgets properly.
And that's the other thing I find about CS is like CS, only when you've got a sight can you look down the sight. If I've got a sight, I'm fine. If I haven't, I'm a distinctly average player. But then as soon as I get an org, I'm golden, like I'm just above average. So it's kind of
then I'm in the top 60%.
And like you saying just then about like, you know, like different times for different games, I guess you find in different situations as well. Because like obviously when we were all playing a load of CS, that was all together, whereas now there's less people playing all the time. You play different games. It's very true. Like with like the reason I keep cutting Charlie off. The reason why like I originally got back into Siege like 6 months ago is because I was doing work on my dissertation and people were like all working and busy, so I could only really play games either solo or maybe with one other person, and that's just a game I played a lot solo. And then now people are more free sometimes, so I've not played it as much. But it's a good game. Anyway, Charles.
One of the things I did like about Rainbow Six was there's a couple of instances where you could tell someone was either new to the game or new to an operator, like just from the fact that they picked that operator. So like there's a guy called Fuse, right? And his like gadget is he basically sticks his thing onto a wall and it fires grenades into the room behind the wall. But only on certain surfaces and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
That sounds lit.
But as soon as you see people buy that on a hostage map, it's an interesting thing, because you're like, this guy's device is now fucking useless. Like, or he fires that into the hostage room, we lose.
He's deliberately trolling. Probably
he's either trolling or he's an idiot.
Or both.
Or both,
or he's a bit of both.
Like and it's like it's like little stuff like that. But that's what, like, one of those things where that's part of the reason why it's kind of, I feel like, a difficult game to just, like, if James like played it tonight and he had Fuse, he'd probably understand, like he could read the thing that says Fuse shoots grenades.
I can read, it's true. Yeah.
Newsflash.
Contrary to popular belief.
But like, you'd have no idea what the best spots are, where, you know, who can stop them, and it's such a. I think
that's why I still quite like going back to CS:GO all the time, because it's one which is very easy to pick up and play. But when you start getting better at it, that's where it becomes more tactical. So like when you first start playing, you're just like running around shooting stuff. But as you get better at it, you get more tactical with the grenades and stuff. Like when I first started playing, I was thinking smokes and flashbangs were useless because they didn't do damage, and that was all I was concerned about, was just damage. Whereas now, when I play, a smoke especially is huge,
if not more effective.
It's a seriously important grenade, and a flashbang's fantastic if you're trying to enter sites and stuff, because you can't do it otherwise, because someone will be watching the angle. You've got to flash them off the angle. But so I played Valorant for the first time a few days ago.
How was it?
Fuck me, there's a lot of reading. I'm just like trying to figure out what the agents bloody did. I was just like trying to read the ones I had unlocked. I was just like, I don't even know what this means. I picked one guy. I think his name's like Savos or something like that.
Literally no idea.
He's like a bow dude. So he fires an arrow which can bounce a couple times,
Official
which
title.
basically does like a fucking what's it, UAV sort of thing.
Okay.
Reveals people in an area, and he's got like a shock arrow, and it's like I picked him because I read those things. I'm like, I understand that. I get the gist of what that means. I'm gonna play this dude. Just like,
did you enjoy it? Was it decent? Because I haven't touched it.
It was alright. I mean, I only played on my own, but it was okay. I mean, I think, James, you'd kind of like it because it's a bit more limited in the weapons you've got, and all of them have sights. You can zoom in on them, but you can shoot them like CS:GO, where you don't zoom in. Headshots are like insta kills quite a lot, so it rewards good aim.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it tells you where you've hit and stuff. So I keep hitting body and legs. I'm not hitting head very often.
Is it because you're used to the CS like kind of recoil, so you're pulling down a lot?
Oh yeah, it's a different spray pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I wanted to talk about a little bit. What do you think about like this? Obviously, Charlie, we've all played CS at least probably 100 hours minimum. I really don't like the way that CS have the exact predictable spray patterns. I don't think that's I'm not a fan. James, do you understand what I mean? You a bit perplexed?
Well, just based on they have the exact probability of going to the same place every single time.
It's just simply the fact that like.
I didn't know they did take that. I thought it was just it went up in a general direction with a percentage of swaying each way either side. I didn't know there was a direct.
No. That's what I thought it was.
Specific things. So it's things like I think like the MP9. I don't know if this is correct. I'm just trying to think of it as an example, but I think there's some guns where if you fire, they go up and then to the left. They swerve up and to the left, and there's some which like the AK, you got to drag down a bit more aggressively. Some of the other weapons and things like that because it's got more kickback to
it. I like it. I think it's a good step, and I mean the game's quite old.
Well, you say that, but it's a game that's updated all the time. It's essentially
but they're keeping the same. You know, if they changed all the recoil mechanics, everyone would go, "Oh, why the fuck have you done that?"
They've changed a couple. I think they changed a couple recoil things throughout the years, but I don't know how.
But I think the overall principle of a gun will produce a consistent recoil pattern still exists. It's one of those things where I
guess. Are you thinking about it from a realism perspective? In terms of a gun's going to be different every time, but then you think about it, if it's in the hand of the same person every single time with the same muscle control, the same experience, it's always going to have that same, and they will know how to hold it and how to. I've never shot a gun. I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm talking about. But from my experience,
but from my expert knowledge,
but from my thought of if you swing a baseball bat, eventually you swing a baseball bat exactly the same time out of 100 tries if you do it enough.
I get that. Like, because I mean, to be honest, I don't really mind if it's not realistic, because unless it's like a mil sim kind of game like Armour or something, I just want it to be more fun than realistic in general. That's obviously not true for all things, but just in general as a principle. But I don't know, I think it's just the fact that like, if I don't know why, but I don't like the idea that someone who is good at FPS but has only played CS like a few times will probably be beaten by someone who is perfectly average at FPS games but has played CSGO a lot.
But
in the sense that
isn't
they're
that
pure
just game specialism?
Yeah, but what is true is like, just like for instance, like Charlie, when he played Rainbow Six Siege, whilst he hadn't played it as much as I have,
he slapped me up.
he out-killed me consistently.
But that was crap with the operators, but I could shoot.
Exactly, he didn't know what to do, but he knew how to kill people with guns. So he was being his like background, like knowledge, for lack of a better term, of FPS games could be applied to that game and probably dozens of other FPS games. Whereas CS and games where they have specific recoil patterns, it's one of those things where it's not actually like, it's not bad. It's just one of those things where personally I'm just not a fan.
Is it because you're
I don't know what you mean.
It's because I'm bad, okay?
I don't know what you mean by a specific recoil pattern though, because every gun in every FPS has a specific recoil pattern.
Well, no, they don't.
It wasn't. If it,
they
do
don't.
They not?
No. So, for instance,
probability based in all games, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's some games where you shoot the weapon and it's completely random.
No, it'll have the same general. So it'll have a base. It'll have like a base recoil like CS have, but then there'll be possibilities on each fire rate that it'll fire off a certain amount in a certain direction. So say that's the base fire rate. At the third shot here, there'll be a probability of 0% that it'll fire 5 meters to the left, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, until it gets back into the middle.
So like if you did like a test, like for instance, like in Warzone, if you shoot like a wall 3 times and you empty the mag, the overall patterns will roughly look the same, but the individual bullet spreads will be different.
Yeah.
Like they won't be the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
It just stops
You'll
people.
get that. You'll get that with the weapons in CS if you don't spray control though. It's not like if you emptied an AK clip at a wall, it won't look the same every time. It'll only look the same if you're controlling the spray.
You've been debunked, Andy.
But
I
even
don't know.
then, it
I
won't
think
look exactly the same.
because
It'll
I
look
watched
slightly different.
the reason I'm very passionate about this is because I watched a
I watched a YouTube
There's this
video
guy-
and now I think I know everything.
exactly. There's this YouTuber called Garbage who I'd recommend to anyone who's like making his own FPS game. He's called Garbage, pronounced
not
garbage,
garbage.
but pronounced garbage. It's me, okay? No. And he explains how CS it is the same predetermined pattern, whereas obviously like Warzone, it's more of like a rough curve, and then because the whole video was him going into whether he wants to have predetermined patterns in his FPS game or not, or random. And I think I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know why I don't dislike it. I just do.
I think I certainly coming from like a Call of Duty background and going into CS, like first few times I played it, I was like, this is shit. Because I know that I'm good at Call of Duty and I know that I'm good at shooters. So then going into a game where it's nothing like that, I was getting really frustrated because it's like, right, let's go into a Call of Duty map. I will wipe the floor with all of you. But I'm currently going like 0 for 16.
And it's extra weird because like CS is like maybe aside from Call of Duty, the quintessential FPS game. Like that is when you think FPS, you probably think, well, probably COD
Battlefield.
or maybe CS:GO.
It's if you were saying it's not at least in top 5, you'd be lying.
Yeah, because what else is there?
It's definitely top 5 bare minimum. I mean, you could say something like Valorant nowadays.
Medal of Honor.
Rainbow Six, Medal of Honor. No,
bit old, I suppose. But, yeah,
not anymore.
Franchise-wise.
There's something like CS and Battlefield, but COD and Battlefield, but CS is definitely up there.
Yeah, because there's not been any released recently, really, has there? Many new ones.
No. But the big thing that a lot of people do, and what you did, James, when you first started playing, is people try to play CS like it's COD.
Yep.
And it's not COD. So people get annoyed by the fact there's no sprint button.
Yep.
And people get annoyed by how long it takes you to reload and all this sort of stuff. But it's a much slower. I was going to say more tactical. But I don't know if it's more tactical as much, but it's definitely a lot slower and there's a lot more downtime almost. So it's not like like if you watch like pro CS, if people see each other, someone's dead. That's just how it works. There's no like thing. It's like usually just, especially with an AWP, it's just bang,
dead.
Someone's dead. So you'll see the first like half of the round, unless it's a rush, most of the round is just posturing, and they're just throwing grenades and trying to trick the other team into thinking they're going one side and they're actually going the other one. And it's a lot more trying to manipulate what the other team is thinking, rather than running and gunning, which is kind of similar. It's like similar to COD as well, because there's tactics in COD, but it's different. I don't really know how to describe it.
No, I get what you mean.
I think that's what
it's like search and destroy.
It's a bit
in Call
slower.
of Duty. You get one life.
Yeah.
It's like, whereas in team deathmatch you can gung ho in and lose a life, knowing that the next life you know where those people are coming from, so you can get the 3 of them more tactically, and that's a tactic to use. Sacrifice 1 to get 3. Whereas in CS. You lose your life, you can't then go gung-ho in. Yeah. Because you're dead.
And I think the way the maps are designed is pretty much just for search and destroy. Like COD, when I played search and destroy, I couldn't really get it, because like if you plant somewhere in COD search and destroy, there's usually like 360 degree angles where people can come from. With CS, it's not like that. There'll be 3 entrances or something, it's a bit more built for search and destroy.
There's a lot more bottlenecks as well, which force you into meeting people, which is brilliant in the sense of, with the pros, like it forces them to have 1-on-1s and 2-on-2s, 2-on-1s, that kind of thing, where you just have to engage. You can't go, okay, I'm going to fuck off now. So it just doesn't work that way.
It definitely makes, because I feel, to bring it back to Rainbow Six Siege, because that's what I know a lot about, but it's like there's, from the scale of run and gun to tactical, CS kind of is perfectly in the middle. In the sense that you don't run and gun like COD though. You're not doing your, knee slide cancelling and
YY ladder
running off. Yeah, YY intervention no scopes. But you can, walk up pretty uniformly. But you do have to think about what you're doing in CS. You can't really just go gung ho. And in that sense, it is like Siege a lot in that you just have to be. It basically nothing happens and then a lot happens and then nothing happens again. Whereas COD, it's obviously designed more for 12-year-olds, so it's everything is happening all the time. So you can't, because it would be boring if you, like I admit, like if you play COD and it played like a CS:GO match, it probably wouldn't be nearly as fun.
No, not at all. No.
It's not what you buy it for.
And also, people are more likely to play COD on their own than CSGO.
Yeah.
I think that's the other big thing. CSGO is such a let's get a 5 together and let's play as a 5 or maybe a 4, like very rarely a 3. Whereas Call of Duty, you just go in because you're not talking to everyone on your team.
Yeah. Because to an extent, the tactics
it doesn't matter.
Don't really matter
as much. If
you're
good at aiming down sight and beating people in one-on-ones, you're good at Call of Duty.
You'll win. Yeah.
That's kind of
whereas
Warzone's kind of changed that a little bit, but I haven't played enough to kind of comment on Warzone, so I'll refrain from that.
Well, I suppose Warzone is not really. It's just any kind of like. Have you played any sort of battle royale?
The only time I played Warzone was with you in that game bar.
My God, we did terrible. We did so awful.
I was rinsing people in the warm up as well, and then we went into the actual game.
I remember you said that.
To be fair, I sat there with a whole bottle of wine.
For the context there, we went to a gaming bar in London. We did it with a group of us as part of on the way out from me going from the UK out to Australia. We did it as part of that. So there was a group of us who went to a gaming bar in London and played on the computers there, and it was really good. It was pretty good. It was great. It was great.
It was really,
it might have been 15 quid for an hour.
It was a tenner
or something like that.
I think it was a tenner.
I think we went over as well.
We did. And
because they said no one's booked in after you, so you can keep going. So fuck it.
Tell you what though, I had some major anxiety though when we had those, because we were having alcohol at the same time. And had we been drinking prior to that?
Yes, you and Adam had. Us three and Adam had.
You guys had, yeah.
So we were already not sober going into it, and I was just terrified because the way they had these set up was it was essentially like a long, kind of two sides of a square, and it was a long or two sides of a triangle, and it was a long connected desk, and you couldn't actually see the PCs, but they were directly underneath the desk. So if something spilled on the desk, it very easily could have gone into these, what I assume are minimum £1,000 PCs.
Yeah.
And so and for some reason they kept insisting on giving us cups rather than just the bottle.
So that was originally, so I was going to say this is why this place would always stand out as a sick establishment in my eyes. I was kind of on the way when I was walking there, me and Adam were talking about, we were kind of like, what should we have to drink? What should we have to drink? And I was sat there and I was like, you know what? When we've been playing CS recently, which was what we were going to play all together, because half and half we were going to do Warzone and Rocket League, and then all play CS together. I was like, when I've been playing CS for lately, I've had a glass of white wine, and it's really kind of, every time I have white wine, I really want to play CS, and every time I play CS, I really crave white wine.
Nice.
And so when we got in there, I was like, I might have a white wine. So I go up to the bar and he's like, he was like, oh, how long you got? I was like, we're going to be here for an hour. I might as well get a bottle. So I asked for a bottle. And he was like, yeah, but you can't drink it out the glass. And I was like, because, you got to have a...
I don't know why.
Because it's next to the computers, you might spill it. You got to have something that's covered. And I was like, oh, I can't drink it out of the bottle then, can I? It's just, you can't do that. And he was like, no. But I can give you this. And got out a little sippy cup. And so we all got these little sippy cups of, I'll put a picture of it, just there. But I've got this little sippy cup of just white wine, and I'm just pouring this bottle in right next to, as you say, a $2,000 PC.
And I just remember I don't think I clocked it straight away or something, but I was very vanilla. I got a pint of cider, I think. And I just remember looking over, I'm like, did you bring that with you? like, what the hell?
Everyone kept coming over and just nudging me and be like, "Is that yours?" Like, yeah, sick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my sippy cup.
Because I don't think anyone on our side was drinking.
No.
But I'd recently at that point got into like drinking cappuccinos and stuff. So like your side, everyone was like getting really drunk, and then on our side we were just fucking wired.
It's so wired into Rocket League as well. Like,
and to be fair, you could tell because we did a like a CS:GO match. It was us. How many of them? Well, there were 6 of us there, but we had one on rotation, and you could tell who was more drunk and who was getting caffeinated because there was a significant dip in form between the two. For the drunk people,
kept switching.
Yeah, and I remember like I got like 1 kill in a round, and I was over the moon. I was buzzed.
You could also tell later on from who had been drinking for a bit longer as well. Because obviously we went to the pub and stuff and watched the England game.
Oh, yeah.
And then when we got on the train, we were so obnoxious on the train.
Reprobates. I apologise, but also it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, that was that's one thing I wanted to also, because like whilst in that instance being slightly drunk was to our video game detriment for myself and James, I think personally, I mean, this is a theory that is probably not just kept by me. I peak at my video game abilities when I say I'm about 2 pints in.
I agree.
Yeah,
maybe 2.5, 3.
I'm relaxed.
It's the same with playing pool and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yes.
You peak when you're 2 pints in.
Yeah. We've had some seriously competitive games of pool that have been like we've gone to say like the Dorset or something, and we've played a game of pool and we've been trash, and then we'll jump back on 2 games later or something after 2-3 pints, and it's such a good game. Like it's.
I wonder what. So I guess it's because you're. At least for me, like I remember the first time I ever clocked that this was a thing was we were probably playing a game of PUBG, and it was like I think we'd gone out to a pub. And then I'd like walked home, so I'd slightly sobered up, but I was still slightly drunk. And we were playing a game of, I'm not sure who I was playing with, probably with Charlie and maybe EGAP or someone. And I was like slightly drunk, but I was very calm. I was not stressing about any sort of firefight or anything. I was like, it's all cool,
chill,
it's all
dude.
cool. And I felt like we performed better.
You sure you were just drunk?
I think
maybe I was just stone cold sober.
The confidence boost steadies your aim a bit.
I think it does.
You're not as nervy about it.
Yeah,
I think it's partly that, and it's also partly like I know for a fact, like we all, us 3 and some other friends, we 2 Christmases ago, we did a Christmas quiz thing where we like all made up these rounds of jokes and of like questions, and we all drank during it. And then afterwards, some of us jumped into CS:GO, and I was. I mean, there is literal footage to. I was gone. There is footage to attest to this.
I think it's uploaded.
Video up on YouTube to attest to it.
Yeah. And I just remember like, I was gone, but watching that video, some of us were like, feeling it, like we were confident.
Yeah.
Like I was gone, especially towards the end of the gameplay. But being a bit drunk, you do get that little like, yeah, I'm the shit. I can take this team.
That's why it's dangerous being on nights out and getting that feeling.
Yeah. Because I'm the man. But of course, you can really not do anything too bad when you're like playing a game of CS:GO.
But you can tell though. You can tell when Andy's drunk too much when we're playing CS, because there's been a couple of games where like it'll be like the last 5 rounds or something, Andy's just fucked off. Like he's got really drunk and he's completely forgotten about what we're doing, and he's just like got up and just wandered off.
I remember I watched some. It might have been that night or a different night, but we were mid CS competitive game, which of course it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, it is a fun game, but you do have to like get people on. So like sometimes you got like message mates to be like, hey, do you want to play a game at 8:30? and it's kind of like a little commitment because you're basically timetabling these people in for an hour, potentially more. And I remember it was like 2/3 of the way in, and I just went to the loo, and I was watching football highlights on my phone, but I was watching like the extended football highlights, which are like 12 to 15 minutes long, and I watched all of it for a game. I can't remember what a game it was. And then I came back and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I was playing a game.
You're such an Irish goodbye though. You do that all the time. I am. You just get up and leave.
I just bounce.
Or actually no, because you go, I'll be right back.
And then I'm gone.
Never see
And then
you
see me 3 days later.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm like, what's up guys?
You're right.
Oh, my laptop stunk of whiskey after that that quiz night.
That was we need to do another one of those. I think a quiz.
That was beautiful.
A quiz should be in order because that was so much fun. So I think
you're expecting me to get up at 5 a.m. on a
get drunk
the day after New Year.
Do it on a day where you're going to. Do it on a day that you're going to go watch some cricket.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you can just drink through
if you guys are doing one for like New Year's or something, I'll probably still be awake. It's like
good point. Yeah.
Already.
There you
go. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Can we talk about like New Year's? Because I don't know whether you guys get it, but I say this every single New Year. New Year is a really good opportunity to get loads of people together and have a really good laugh and have a cracking night. And
Indeed.
Most of the time it is. But why is there this thing in New Year's where a normal night out would just be, you'd get to midnight and you just go, cool, midnight, and then it'd get to 2, 3, 4, and then people go home. Whereas on New Year's, for some reason, everyone gets really drunk. It gets to New Year, and then it gets to about half an hour later, and everyone fucks off.
Yeah, that does happen.
I wonder why that is.
I guess I don't know why that is.
It always.
Do you reckon it's because
happens, though.
Like the night is building up to this event,
the crescendo. Yeah,
and then it happens,
and then it's just
and then you're like, oh, it's done now.
Yeah. See, that pisses me off so much because I'm always just drunk enough that I'm like, right, I could black out in about an hour, and that's the dream.
Just a few more. Yeah,
and then I'm there, but nobody ever goes.
Yeah, it's very odd. I wonder what that like thinking is because I think
it did happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, go Andy.
You said the last New Year's, I think that we all, or at least I had with Charlie. I think you might have been in the UK during that, James. But I remember we got to the club. It was at midnight.
The club.
Midnight went. El Clubo. And then I felt like everyone left like about 20 minutes after that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Sick. Cheers, guys. See you next year.
Andy was very, very pissed, though. It was quite entertaining.
I go hard.
No, you don't. You're just a lightweight.
I was following... Because everyone went home and Andy was just really upset about it. So he was going to go walk home by himself. I'm like, he goes back in a few weeks. I'm not going to see him again for another couple of years.
To uni. Yeah.
So I thought, nah, fuck it, let's do it. So I chased after Andy, right? Went back into the nightclub. When you leave the nightclub, you're supposed to get the stamp on your hand and stuff to say you've just been in. But this is Guernsey. It's a small place. Bouncers know us. So I walked in, I was like, mate, we haven't got the stamps, but we've just left. Can we come back in? The bloke's like, yes, go on. Push us through. I'm like, oh, fuck for that. I don't have to pay to go in because it's free before midnight. Yeah. And then it's just like we'd have to pay like 15 quid for a nightclub, which wasn't really worth it.
Yeah, that probably would have been too far.
And so we went in. And at this point, I realised I've made a grave mistake because Andy is a lot drunker than I thought he was. Because Andy was like buying drinks, he was taking a sip, putting it down, and then he'd wander off to another bar and buy a drink, and then take a sip, and then put it down, and then go to another one, and then buy a drink and take a sip.
And I don't know if this is blatantly obvious with my apparel, but I am not a wealthy man. I don't have the kind of capital to be doing that.
So at first, the first couple, I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I'll just finish it, whatever." But then, like after about half an hour, I was like, "Andy, we got to go." And you're like, "No, it's fine. We can stay."
Just bought another drink.
Like, Andy, you've spent. I was like, "Andy, you've spent about." Yeah, he's just like, "Let me get another one." No, No, you've just in the last like half an hour, you've spent about 60 quid on drinks and you haven't drunk any of them. We're going.
It's the ultimate minesweeper move. Go back at the end of the night and pour them all into my jug.
Thankfully, you can see the cogs turning in his pissed brain, and you can see the student part of Andy kicking in again, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that's a bit much. I should probably go now."
I remember thinking it was like, I remember always thinking I had a drink in my hand, but that I was also kind of bloated, so I didn't want to drink the drink.
You did have a drink in your hand. It was just a new one.
It was just a new one every 2 seconds. Yeah.
I don't know Beautiful. Why, but I always come back to the thought whenever somebody mentions like Follies, the club. Whenever someone mentions that, it always reminds me of the time. Do you remember when my buddy Gabe came over, or when he was over, and you and him went to the bar to get drinks, and he said about getting like rum and apple juice or something. Is it rum and apple juice or whiskey and apple juice? Or
rum and apple juice.
Or whiskey and apple juice or
something. Wait, are you talking about Andy or me here?
Charlie.
Who went? Was it me?
Yeah.
It was me, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was like apple juice and rum or something.
Gives you a little insight as to how drunk Charlie was in that situation.
Yeah. No, we were all mashed. But then it was like, so they both tasted it and they were like, oh, this is shit. And so they wanted me to taste it. So they brought this drink over to me. Yeah. And they gave this drink to me. And, we're in the club, it's loud. And Gabe like leans in and goes, "Oi, try this, it's shit." And just puts it in my hand. Didn't hear what he said. All I heard was, "Here's a drink." So I just look at him, neck it, give him the glass back. And he's just stood there looking at me like...
He's like, "I've just paid £5."
Yeah, I've just paid like £8 for this double drink. What the fuck are you doing?
It was quite good seeing the facial expression change though, because James was just like total party move, just like, "What?" Next thing, he just, "What the fuck was that?"
Like that was grim.
It's just the classic club atmosphere of everyone's screaming, but you still can't hear a single thing.
This is actually something. If somebody leans into me and is trying to talk to me at a club and leans into me and like goes, "Oi, rah, rah," I always turn to them and I go, "Just speak normally. If you talk normally in my ear, I can hear you. But if you fucking bellow, I can't hear you." Like, I've got one busted ear anyway. So
he's trying to bass boost your speakers. He's trying to blow out your speakers.
Literally.
"We've been trying to reach you about your car. But
if people just walk up to me and just go, "Hi, we're in the smoking area. We're gonna go out in a minute," I can hear them fine. Do you guys find that, or would you prefer someone bass boosted and ear raped you?
I've just found I can't hear shit in the club, whether someone's speaking quietly or loudly. I can't hear anything. Like,
I remember one strategy.
Which is why I prefer pubs.
One strategy I saw, I think in a movie or something. Yeah, it was just that if you're in a loud setting, not necessarily one with alcohol, just a loud setting where you can't hear people, and you have their phone number, just text them, even if they're
Messenger.
6 feet away from you, just send them a text.
I thought you were going to say call them.
Yeah.
And then scream down the phone.
Scream and put it on speaker, and then they'll be able to hear you better. That makes sense.
Put it in your ear.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. This just honestly, this us talking about the quiz night thing. We talked about it a bit before we started recording, but I would really love to watch some sort of film or something, some sort of maybe a terrible TV show, and do some sort of drinking game to it. Because oh my god, like James, I don't know if you're a part of this. I hope you weren't for your sake. but Charlie, do you remember the Chicken Girls?
Oh, I wasn't part of it. Thank God, fuck, I wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, I remember it. It was
I wouldn't openly say this if I was you.
I was dragged.
I think it's fine.
Unwillingly by Andy and Dan. I did not want to watch this, but there was so much nagging and bollocks.
I think it was a classic case of one of those things where we thought it was kind of a little funny as an idea, and then it went way too far. And then
it was the thing we were doing at 3:00 in the morning. That was what we were watching. But there was like a couple of things which made me laugh. So it was like, because there's a character called Rooney. So every time she appeared on screen, I just did like the Rooney bicycle kick, the commentary of that. I just screamed, Rooney!
It's a great name.
It was awful.
God.
But because like in the previous podcast, I don't know which order these will come out in, but in a previous podcast we talked about,
or in a future podcast,
we have or will talk about Bionicle. I've already forgot what it's called.
Mask of Metro Nui.
Metro Nui, and some of those films like that, like
they're just immense and they're so easy to watch and so funny as well. Like that live action Scooby Doo film. Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. Crackers.
Just simply spot on.
I was actually, you saying about Chicken Girls. This is a memory that's flown back to me from ages ago. Obviously, I was like, I wouldn't admit to that if I were you. Like, there was a series. It was like, I think it was like an X videos series that was like finding the next top porn star.
I just want to officially say I don't endorse the transition between Chicken Girls and that.
Not at all.
That was, I don't know why that reminded you of that, James.
I don't know what it is. But there was a series that was that, and it was like finding the next top porn star, and that might have been the funniest show that I've ever sat down and watched with people in my life.
Wait,
was
it
so
like a
funny.
Kind of America's Next Top Model style?
Yeah, style thing where they do challenges and it's all related to that. And I sat down and watched it with like 5 people, and it was so funny. We all sat there drinking, and it was hilarious. Like, so funny. I would highly recommend if you get the time.
Iconic web series.
That does remind me though of the. You know that video, the one that's just like the.
Are you watching porn by yourself?
Are you still watching porn by yourself? It's like, nah, I'm with my boy. that is like
iconic
still
memes.
One of my favourite memes.
It's so funny.
It's so good. So
Christ.
Good.
But yeah, elite
TV
like
show. 30 people behind it.
The fact that he pre-organised that to invite those people
came
around
every week.
For that. Yeah.
With my boys.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's
so dumb, dude. So fucking dumb.
On a slightly related note, like, do you guys watch any like current web series?
I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go.
No.
Do you watch new release porn?
No, that's the Patreon.
That's our Patreon.
Yeah.
Current series. Yeah. I mean, I was actually thinking about this last night. I think I'm going to get rid of Netflix. I don't watch it.
You're going to get rid of Netflix? Interesting.
Yeah, honestly, I can't think of something that I watch religious. With The Witcher. That's basically.
Do you watch that?
Or
do you not watch that?
I might have to watch that before I get rid of it. Actually.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like on Netflix, like what I don't know, like what have you guys been watching recently? I watched The Witcher, and then I watched Don't Look Up.
Yeah,
which I thought
that was quality. That was good.
Thought that was good.
Yeah,
that was worth a watch.
Actually, one thing we could use Netflix for. Netflix has got an absolute plethora of horror films.
Oh, it does. Yeah,
nice.
They've got so many that are awful.
That'd be really
jokes. I've got them all
through.
on my list, so it would be jokes to go through and watch some of those.
Yeah,
nice.
Because some of them look so crap.
That would be mad funny. Yeah. I guess what we're saying with this kind of concept is like, if any sad soul is watching this and you want us to watch some horror films, shit films, and do like a sorry Andy's mum, I just insulted you. Like just watching some horror films, then just say in a comment or something, because that'd be jokes. We'd really love to do that. So
be beautiful. Like I watch, you know Scream.
Oh yeah.
Don't know if you're aware, but Scream is currently in cinemas. And
a new one.
I have seen it.
Oh, is it decent?
It is. I've literally never seen a Scream film. It was to the level where I feel like if you gave us the amount of the budget that they had, we would probably make a comparable film to that film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what? I genuinely think if you gave us a budget of, let's say, the Scream probably had about,
let's say $53. We could probably make
film.
something. Yeah,
something. But
enough to buy the mask.
Yeah, that's what we need.
But we have to return it afterwards.
Yeah, we're renting it.
Yeah.
Renting a ghost face mask. That's got to be a moment of self-reflection.
Imagine going into a shop and being like, "Oh, what are you using this for? Oh, do you know the Scream series? Like,
yeah, you know the multi-million dollar
one.
Scream series. Yeah, yeah. No, we're making the prequel.
Scream
or something.
27 at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they make reference to that in the film, like that. It's essentially Scream 7, but they've called it just Scream. It was very Deadpool-esque. They were very a bit of pastiche.
Oh, bit of fourth wall breaking.
Great word. That's a word of the day. That
pastiche.
Pastiche.
I eat those every time I go down to see people in Cornwall.
There it is. Low-hanging fruit, and we went for it.
Thank you.
Goosh.
Thank you.
Very easy.
That's the jokes I swing for.
Fuck you guys are on about.
A pasty.
Charlie's just realised we're in a podcast.
He's just woken up fully.
Who just had a me coming back from the toilet watching a football highlights moment.
Just walking in. Oh, Lewandowski is good.
Is it?
Oh.
Yeah, he is good. Oh! You mean Lewandowski? Classic clip that. Have you seen that, Charles?
Lewandowski?
Yeah.
Lewandowski. And I love how, that clip is
Nobody
brilliant.
laughs.
I don't know if we were allowed to show that clip, but it's a very popular football clip. It's the fact that Thomas Muller says that as if explaining the joke of the name. It's like, no, we get it. He scores goals. Lewandowski. It's beautiful.
Mate, it's German humour. It's no laughing matter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
There's a Bayern Munich documentary on Amazon Prime that I would highly recommend. Really good. It's basically just the life of Bayern Munich when they go through the season after their septuple win. Was it septuple?
Well, they've won a lot.
The six, where they did the 6 all in one.
Andy's summing up Bayern Munich. Yeah, they've won a bit. Yeah,
they've won a
They're
few.
all right.
But yeah, it's the season
like 2 years
after when they
ago
won the 6.
or a year ago,
and it's an all or nothing, I think. But it's really interesting and it's really good. But it's also really disorientating because you start to realise that, well, more than you did already, that a lot of English words derive from other languages. So they'll be randomly talking and it'll be all in German and the subtitles on, and they'll be like all in German. That's not my German impression, but something like that. And then they'll just randomly go
eloquent.
They'll just randomly go excellent, and then carry on.
And you're like, hold up,
head manager. And okay.
I don't know if we've all seen this. I've definitely seen all this. Sunderland Till I Die is a
show.
What
I could not.
Series.
I'm slowly making my way through all the football series on Amazon Prime.
They're beautiful. Sunderland Till I Die. It's on Netflix, I think. I can't remember, but I would recommend getting whatever streaming service is on solely just to watch that, because it is
It's immense.
It's beautifully sad.
It's a fantastic modern tragedy.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful depiction
really is.
of Sunderland. Because Sunderland is just a modern tragedy. So it's a beautiful depiction of what Sunderland is actually like.
And the saddest part about it is when... So I started watching it when I think season 2 had already been released. And of course, I know in real life where Sunderland are in the football world. So they're like, Sunderland might get relegated if they don't win. I'm like, I already know they
Like, we want to go back up into the Premier League. I'm like looking at my phone. They're 2 leagues down.
Say that you are, mate.
No.
And then there was one of my favourite moments was they signed Will Griggs or Will Grigg. I don't know if it's Griggs or Griggs. And it was this star of an amazing anthem, but who was they signed him, and it was a whole thing in the show of how they signed him for a lot more than he was probably worth. And the entire time during this, it was like they dedicated a whole episode to this signing, right? Because he was going to be their star striker for the second half of the season. And I just remember thinking during it, I don't think he ever did he play there. He did not. It was not an illustrious career at Sunderland, needless to say.
The World Cup qualifier hype kind of built him up a bit.
It's the It's the hope that gets me.
Oh,
That's literally the name of one of the episodes.
I found myself genuinely rooting for Sunderland, but knowing full well it was just not going to happen.
It's like these guys have already lost. That's why, like,
sad.
Like, because one thing I do love is I'm not sure if Sunderland Till I Die was the first one of these, but I am loving the emergence of these football,
brilliant, yeah,
real style.
There's loads of them. There's Where Eagles Dare, which is the Crystal Palace one from a few seasons back. There's Bayern Munich. There's Juventus. There's a
Dortmund
PSG one.
I remember.
There's a Dortmund one.
Yep.
There's an Arsenal one coming out next year, from this season, or is it next season?
Nice.
Last season.
I can't remember.
I think it's this season.
I don't know.
Pretty sure it's this
I
season.
think it is this season.
So because all the red cards
right
recently
now
have just been amazing, amazing content for that series.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm loving it. I think it's brilliant. Really good idea for a series.
They are so good.
They've done an F1 one as well, and they've done
NFL.
They've done a cricket one. They've done the Ashes as well for cricket, and they've done the NFL. I think they're pretty good. It's a good look behind the scenes and things like that.
It's just whether you want to open up your club to that kind of the Tottenham one as well. Of course, they did a Tottenham one and a Man City one.
Yeah, with Jose, Man City as well. There's been now that we think of it, probably every kind of Champions League club
it's an
and
easy
Arsenal
it's an easy source
have
of
made
income,
one,
isn't it? I love how you left Tottenham in there as well. Really?
Yeah. and Tottenham.
Yeah, I think it's an easy source of income, but at the same time, would you want your club under scrutiny? No, I'd hate to watch a Man United one because it would just reveal how.
I'd love to watch one. I'd love to watch a
really
Chelsea one or a Man United one. That'd be brilliant.
I'd like to watch an episode devoted entirely to Van der Beek saying he can't wait to start next week.
Genuine tears would roll down my face.
So sad. I just
My
think,
poor
guys, the
boy.
poor lad's not playing.
You got to feel for him. It's like, have you seen that? Like when there was this whole thing. It's probably still happening with YouTubers doing boxing. And there was this clip of, I can't remember his name, but he goes,
yes.
I'm not a real fighter. I have never claimed to be a fighter. And then he goes, I'm gonna. I can't remember what he said, but essentially goes, next week I'm gonna fuck up Austin, and I am a real fighter.
Yeah,
and then there's someone took that, but it was Van der Beek, and it was him going, I'm looking forward to playing for Manchester United. I can't wait to have an impact on the team. And then it was just it cut to him being linked with some other, basically any other club aside from Man United. And then he says I've not been playing as much as I want.
The boxing one is Bryce Hall, and that's possibly the funniest video of last year. It was as you say, it's I'm not a fighter. I never claimed to be a fighter. Cuts to the press conference where he's because I'm a real fighter. I've had 40 street fights, and I've never lost one. It's one who counts their street fights.
You think if you did have lots of street fights, you'd probably stop counting after 3 or 4.
Yeah, but who writes it down in a little notebook?
He's got his accountant there for every street fight.
His boys all doing TikTok dances in the background.
Checking off lists.
Charlie Dolmio in the background.
Too expensive.
One thing I want to say as well is going back to I think it was James talking about languages and a lot of words being the same as having words in English and stuff like that. Have you guys ever looked at the Dutch?
Yes.
Because I am convinced it's just made up.
It's a piss take.
It's there's a few words because I worked there for 3 months. I learned enough that I could pick up the gist of a few conversations and stuff. And there's a lot of words which are similar to English, right? So you've got good is hood, but it's basically spelled the same. It's GOED. Apple is the same word, but they've switched the L and the E. And then you just get something which completely just blows me out the water, which makes you think it's not a real language. So, do you know what the word is for shopping trolley in Dutch?
I think we've had this conversation.
You've told me this before. I cannot remember.
I could not stand there in good faith and look at a sign saying Winkelwagen and be yeah, that looks like a legit word.
That makes sense.
Here's one I saw recently that fucking killed me. Was What do you think
God.
"spank me,
no.
daddy" is in Dutch?
Oh, it's something.
I've seen that.
Isn't it something very juvenile sounding?
Give me and clap, papa.
Oh, awful. The degenerates.
It's so weird. James is fucking dying.
He's loving it. He's even wearing the Dutch colours.
Give me and clap,
loving it.
papa.
I'm just like. What was another one? Where it's
James
like,
is dying. James is dying. There's one which is like shagging in the kitchen, and it's
That was it.
The translate is nuking into cuckoo.
Which sounds very
I'm looking
cute.
it up right now.
Which I'm pretty sure it's not legit.
I mean, Nuka and the Kukin sounds like some sort of like series about like creating nice meals.
All I knew was when I James is fucking dead, by the way.
We need to get him just a translator and just take him to Netherlands.
all I knew is when I was on the plane landing in Amsterdam for the first time, is the voice came over, like the captain's voice came over, like the PA, and he was talking. I was just like, what was that? That sounded like it's someone impersonating English, but deliberately trying to make it sound like Elvish. It was just like really
half
weird.
gibberish.
Yeah,
Pigeon
English.
It was just like, alright, that just sounds weird. There's a lot of things as like an English speaker though. If you go to like the Netherlands and things, there's a lot of signs, a lot of like different things that will just crack you the fuck up because some of it just sounds hilarious. In English, it just sounds amazing.
What a language!
Because I'm pretty sure it's like the gap. It's very similar to German, like Dutch is really similar to German. But yeah, it's just got some more English words or just some words which just sound. If you're a native English speaker, it just sounds hilarious.
I'd love to go. I want to go there and just take in all of the informational signs.
Yeah. There was one I sent to my. Because I sent ones to my brothers when I found them, and it was just like the team just still fucking dying. But it was like the buttons for like the lift. So down was spelt the same, but then instead of up, it was op, like OP.
Up
like,
and down.
Going to get up and in a bit.
Oh god!
The only way is up.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like.
What
it's
a
just
language!
hilarious.
What a place! What a place!
Beautiful language.
I loved our trip to Amsterdam.
It's really nice. It's a really nice place. It's really cool.
Yeah, gorgeous as well.
It's sick.
I've yet to go as an adult. I'd love to.
We need to do a trip
It's
at some point. Very
It's
fun.
really cool. It's really cool. Everyone goes to Amsterdam, but there's much more like to it. Amersfoort. Amersfoort is really cool. And Amersfoort and Maastricht is sick as well. Maastricht's really.
I think
cool.
that's the thing. I'd rather actually go explore it now properly rather than just going, oh, Amsterdam's nice, because this is why everyone's been.
It's really easy to get to all the different places as well.
Yeah. Good connections.
Just going by train and things. It's really, really easy.
Yeah.
Flat in it.
I've heard is really nice. It's sunny in it.
Sunny in it.
Sunny in it.
Sunny in it.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, there's some really nice places.
God. Nukin in the Kukin has really fucking got to me. That.
I want the final words of this episode to just be Nukin in the Kukin, and then it cuts.
No, I think it's a Nukin in F Kukin.
Nukin of Kukin.
Give me and clap, papa.
Oh god, he's gonna get that put on a post.
I'm gonna get that written on my
t-shirt. What does that mean? It's just something very personal to me.
Just want a tattoo which is really meaningful.
Yeah. I was thinking just my birthday, and then I even forgot what it was. But
Nukin into Kukin.
Nukin in F Kukin and give me and clap, papa.
Beautiful.
And on
Absolutely
that,
beautiful.
I think that's the point we'll end it for today. On that beautiful
that
cultural piece of art, if you will.
On our extensive Dutch understanding of the beautiful language.
It's been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen. Charlie, I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
I hope you wake up a little bit more if that's what you need. And
I'm
Andy,
definitely going to wake up more.
sleep well, mate.
Lovely. All right.
Wonderful.
Have a nice time, boys.
All right.
Thanks for
Yeah, no,
watching.
thank you very much for watching. Catch you all next time.
Au revoir.
Bye.
You can in